Hey guys, I want to talk about peer pressure. Peer pressure, is it good or is it bad? And when can it be good and when can it be bad? Because like a knife can cut to feed you and it can cut to injure you. It's a great analogy, but I just want to talk about that for a minute. So who am I? I'm the CEO of Orukka. Orukka is a payment ring. So it allows you to pay. We're brand new, so people still don't know. In fact, I still argue with people daily that your phone is not for payments. You can tap to pay with your phone, but your phone is for phone calls or to watch videos. It was never designed for payments. So Apple just decided to use that, and Google used it very well because it started what's called a tokenization service. A tokenization means that you just take your credit card number, you create a virtual ID, which looks like a virtual card, but in truth, it's just a tokenized number, and that number represents your payments, right? So that was the case, and then it turned out to be a very good idea around banking, and now people started using it, which was good for them because what that means is people start to use their phones a lot more. Yeah, not just for social media, not for phone calls, but also for payments, which is good until both phone batteries die, right? And then you're stranded in the middle of nowhere and you still have to pay. Or your phone gets stolen, right? So a lot of people, they come out of a train station and they tap, because they've tapped to pay with their phones, they're still on their phones, still going through social media, and someone grabs it away. That's their life gone. And that's one of the ideas why we came up with this then, right? So with this, you can just tap to pay wherever you are. We've got this in gold, silver, zircon stone. And then we have some business one. This is a business ring. It allows you a bracelet, a business bracelet where you tap to receive money, or you can tap to share your contact details. So we use this globally, right? We're global in about 55 countries so far, and we're growing, working with 250 banks. I say all that to just talk about what we do, right? So it's not like I'm just making this up, or I'm just talking because I've got time in a hotel room. It's actually because I think it's a great idea to talk about peer pressure and what that means, how to use it to your advantage. Yeah. And I know this from our app. So your ring connects to an app, right? A Monesave app. So if you search Monesave, Monesave, without the Y, don't say Money Save. Maybe we should buy that domain actually. But it's called Money Save. Money Save, Money Save, however you want to call it, just without the Y. And then what happens on our app, you can also, in addition to tracking your payments on your rings or tracking your payments on your bracelets, that you can also receive money and also save as a group. So what that means is people, right, you can find out how much you're saving. So every time you pay, you can actually put money aside to save in a group. Just put money aside. I'm not going to call it savings because we don't give interest yet. But even then, people still have money with us. We don't give interest here because we're not a bank. We're applying for banking licenses across the world. We've just launched less than 6, 7 months ago. So we're trying our best here. And we plan to definitely launch and actually start giving interests on deposits. But right now it's currently held with banks, so we don't have the power. The banks actually take the interests, and we're not big enough to like command what JP Morgan will command or what Goldman Sachs. All those guys, if they put money with you, you have to pay them, right? You have to pay them proper change. But for us, we're still young, so when we go to a bank and say, "Hey, can you hold our customers' funds?" They're like, "Yep." And they hold it and they don't give interest. So hopefully we get to that stage where we have our own banking licenses. And from our license, we can also then give interest to our customers. But prior to that, I think what's happening now is the fact that we have our payments and then people put money aside as a group. Now, there's positive and there's negative pressure on these things, right? And I say that with someone who's actually worked in banking for several years and I've seen a lot of things come and go, right? And we're doing payments here, right? But, payments is good because people like convenience. But crypto, right? Anyone remembers, NFC? So NFC rings was very big. NFC, sorry, not NFC rings. What do you call those things? Tags, tokens, Pokemon tokens, Bored Ape, all those things were flying through the ranks back then, and people ran off, and most people didn't buy it because it was a good investment, right? If you remember, people were not buying it because it was one of the best investment out there. People were not buying it because they understood what it meant. People were buying it because other people were buying it, which is just pure peer pressure. But there's negative peer pressure there because you see your favorite celebrity who knows nothing about finance. Just remember that, right? If you see a celebrity, know that the celebrity knows nothing about what they're talking about because they are the face of something. I'm stuck here because I'm giving a speech to bankers, right? That's what I do. I'm not an influencer. I'm not a celebrity, right? If I was an influencer, I'll have 1 million views. I have 2 million followers, right? That's an influencer, right? And an influencer then they can't know what they're talking about the topic because they're just so busy. You get that, right? And I hope people understand that. So when you see your favorite musician coming out to say, please buy NFT, they don't know what they're talking about because they possibly can't because they're musicians. When you see your favorite financial guru come out to talk, They can't know what they're talking about because they're financial gurus. And that's all they do, right? What they do is effectively they talk and they give a script. There's a script. I don't have a script, by the way, in case you got noticed. I don't have a script. I'm just talking, right? Because that's my topic. That's all I do morning to night, right? I only talk on social media when I have the time, when I'm going for lunch, or like now I'm just getting ready for my next meeting. I've got 30 minutes, 40 minutes to kill. I go on social media and I talk to my customers because my customers listen. People want to know what payment ring. I mean, this is brand new, right? People still don't understand how this can make a payment, but this makes payment, right? Oh, and how can this make? So this is a health ring, by the way. We also do this. It's a health ring. So in this health ring, it has your pulse. You see here this is a data center. It has your pulse. I'm going to have a video on this one. It has your pulse and has everything. And up here on this corner, there's a payment chip there as well. So you can track your fitness, track your health, and make a payment with this ring. Okay. Now I'm not a celebrity, I'm not like a sports star. I'm not people don't know about this, right? But it happens. And that's my point. My customers that need it find me. Okay. Same thing as well. We have what's called an AI ring. So this is our AI ring. So this ring actually allows you to talk to the ring and then you can swipe to make payments. It is one of the coolest. I think this has to be our top invention. So this is your speaker. If you see here, there's a speaker here. This is your speaker that you talk to. And then with this, then you have your yes or no swipe. We'll work with a few central banks on this as well. So this is going to be, I think this is definitely going to be a good one. And the idea now, we don't want to sell, we're not selling this directly to customers. Actually, you can. We'll see how quickly we can get this ramped up. Right now, we're talking to several governments and several central banks to try and roll this out to customers. And it'll be cheaper that way, right? The only reason I work with these guys is that it'll be cheaper for customers. If you have to go buy our rings, so our current ring, this ring I can tell is about, depending on what country you're coming in from. But I can tell you it's about $100, right? But if this was going to go through your government, if your government was going to pay for this, it'd be $50, right? Because what they'll do is they just pay us any margins of 60, 70, $80, and then they'll force MasterCard to take it cheaper, and then it becomes cheap. I see all this. Sorry, I distracted from the topic there, but I just really wanted to highlight the fact that this is my topic. This is all I do, right? And this is not even about it. I have a whole video on how payments ring work and how it works in general. But the point I'm trying to make here is the fact that if you have a celebrity that's trying to sell you a product and you look at them and you're a celebrity, then they don't know what they're talking about because they can't be specialists and be celebrities at the same time. They can't be specialists and be on the road 247. Right? They can't be bankers and then be on social media and have a YouTube, like just to edit YouTube. This is not being edited, by the way. But these guys, they have to edit, they have to do B-rolls, they have to do this show, this graph, and all that. That takes them days to do. So that if they're doing that, then there's no way they know what they're talking about when it comes to finance. Yeah, so please know that, right? So when people go in and advertise things to you, do your own research. DYO, maybe I should call the video that. Do your own research. No peer pressure, right? So avoid peer pressure as much as possible. Avoid listening to celebrities and influencers as much as possible because those guys are not specialists in those topics. Yeah. And people, I had a whole video on this on how people get angry with founders like us, startup people, business people, true business people, they can barely afford to do marketing. But influencers do a lot of marketing. They're always marketing and always marketing. They have millions. Sometimes they have like a talk show, then they have a show, then they have a podcast, then they have a video, and then people buy their courses for like, $200, $3,000 sometimes just to buy it. And then it's fake because they find out it's fake. And then they sue them. But these guys move on to something else, right? Why we have a good product like this as $100 and people are still not buying it. And people know about it, but I wish more people knew about it, right? Without being too expensive because we can do it. So I worked in banking, so we can go ahead and say, hey, we want to raise 1 million and we can raise 1 million like that, right? Or 2 million. We can raise 2 million and say 2 million, we're going to do marketing on Facebook and everyone's going to know about the product. But I do know as well that that's 2 million, you have to pay it back. So what that means is the 2 million, you then have to go to VC. The VC doesn't want 2 million back. They didn't borrow you the money. They want 2 million and they want to make at least 20 million next, if not more. Sometimes they actually make more because they want you to be a unicorn. They force you to be a unicorn. So what that means is then because of that 2 million that you took off them, you have to increase the price of your product. You have to then try and sell. Yeah, that's why you see your favorite, maybe I should have a whole video on this, why your favorite bank closed down or why your favorite startup always closed down. They close down because specifically they take money that they can't afford to pay back. They take money from VCs, from private equity funds, and then the private equity force them and squeeze everything they have out of them, let the customers rot. So that's what usually happens. So before you know it, the CEOs and founders are stuck. They have to just let it go. So anyway, that's a sad story, a sad detraction there on what I was trying to say there. So please, guys, be careful when people come out and give you financial advice, especially if you look at their videos and their videos, have got 1 million, 2 million, 3 million views. For dance videos, it makes sense. But when it comes to tech, pure tech topics, you have to be careful with things like that. Yeah, and the psychology, I have to repeat, the psychology of financial pressure, peer pressure is there with us as humans, right? Because that's how we grew up, right? So I recall coming in there. That's how we grew up, that we are accustomed to do that. If you're walking around the streets and you see 5 people gathering, 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to stop to say, hey, what's happening there? Right? Because that's what we do. We're wired to want to be inquisitive. We're wired to find out what's happening. Yeah. We see a group, we want to join that group. Yeah. So it's not our fault that if we see things online, if we see, 5 people, buying NFT board ape, we want to buy it as well because we think it's good. So it's a human tendency to want to go and do things like that. And that's where we come in to say, hey, please don't. To just fight that pressure, right? If everyone's buying, I don't know, a Ferrari, immediately we all want to buy Ferraris. But we all know as well to think and say, wait a minute, I can't afford a Ferrari. I'm not going to go steal to buy a Ferrari. So we know to be cautious. We know to be disciplined. So we also need to be disciplined that way as well. When we see all these funny tokens being launched or crypto being launched and people say, oh, to the moon, right? But be careful there. And again, someone came at me the other day to say, hey, they really want to invest in AI. Why am I telling them to be careful about the guys in China coming up with this AI? I specifically said it as well because I thought it was fraud. I was like, hey, guys, why are we coming up with AIs that are working, right? The AIs are working and they're having a catwalk and then they opened up the leg of the AI to say that's a human. Oh, no, that was a bot and not a human. I said, no, it could be an amputee. It could be anything. Like we need to stop, we need to stop going for the hype. Because what happened as soon as they made that announcement, their stock price jumped up. What happens after that? People keep buying into it. And you keep buying that stock, it goes up in price. So that becomes a bubble. Whether they have a bot or not is irrelevant. Whether you should have gone in or not is irrelevant. Do you know the topic enough to invest in it? No, then don't. So I think that's the point I'm trying to make there, guys. While it's good and to always think that you want to get at the ground of most topics because you want to make sure you're in early. That's true, I agree. But do your research is all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying you shouldn't, right? I mean, yeah, by the way, yeah. So if you wanted to invest in us, same thing. We're brand new. So when it comes to wearables, right? Paying with rings, paying with AI on your rings and say, hey, please pay John £20. That's brand new. No one's ever done that. But I think where the line we're drawn is if I come to you and I say this is 10,000, pounds. Wow. You should say, hey, Patrick, what are you talking about? That's too expensive. Or if I say to you, hey, we're raising 5 million, then you'd be like, whoa, Patrick, why are you raising 5 million? Surely you can afford to do it. Yeah. I can. Or you and your banking friends can put this together. I can talk to the bank to do it. That's why I haven't gone to investors, right? Because I have connections in the banking world and I also have money as well to do it. So the point I'm trying to make, guys, is be careful with peer pressure. Peer pressure can be good, can be bad. Find out which is which, and that I leave to you. If anyone's coming to give you advice online on social media, be careful and watch out immediately. Not that I give this financial advice, by the way. Always check, do your research. Talk to you later. Bye.